Hi, Fran. How are you?
Great, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing well. Well, thank you so much for joining me today and to talk about your experience with us and just your experience being a realtor in general.
Thank
And
you.
for
Happy to do it.
thank you. And just for everybody to know, my name is Mia Reeves. I'm a CPA and I own an accounting business. We have two business partners, myself and Patra. We have a team of 15 employees at this point, and we have over 400 clients we serve nationwide. And Fran is definitely one of our top clients because we love working with her, not just her personality is a bless to be with you, but also your business has been an awesome business. So I would love to introduce our audience to you and just wanting to get to know you a little bit more. So just because I know you doesn't mean they know you. So would you mind telling people a little bit more about yourself and your business?
Sure. I've been a realtor now for 22 years, and for the last 15, I've had really the pleasure and the unique opportunity to be a realtor that specializes in corporate relocation. So what
Mm.
that means is I represent corporate executives, typically the senior director level up to the C-suite, with their relocations into and out of California. So while a lot of times people confuse that and they think, oh, you must do commercial real estate. And
Mhm.
no, so I have to qualify. I'm a residential realtor, but I have this specialty in that my job is really to play matchmaker. And it's to help people build a new life here in Silicon Valley when they relocate from either somewhere else in this country or somewhere else in the world. And then, of course, on their departure, if they leave Silicon Valley, then, of course, helping them exit in the most efficient and, of course, prosperous way possible. So I'm a risk manager and also, of course, with the goal of maximizing their overall investment.
That is awesome because people always need good homes, and it's kind of a lot of time when people move to a new place, they feel lonely or they feel like they don't have anyone to talk to. So it's good that
Right.
you help them find their home. It's like the most important thing.
Mhm.
Have you always done this, or you started differently and now you're at this point doing what
Well,
you
the
do?
first 7 years, I was also a residential realtor, but not doing anything necessarily with corporate work. So I actually started in my mid 20s when you're in your mid 20s and you're a realtor, the clients you have are typically also in their mid 20s. And so what's really fun about that is I started with selling a lot of condos and townhomes because that's where my contemporaries to buy at that point. We were all in our 20s and getting started. And so it was a really an amazing creation of a business because through the years, as you can imagine, I've had many clients who we've now grown up together. We've done multiple transactions where they started, maybe they were a single person and bought a small condo and then found their significant other, got married, bought a property together. And in some cases, I've done, I think, as many as 10 transactions with one person through these years
Oh,
between their own residences and then investment properties and things. So it's really it was a very advantageous way for me to start a business at that young age, not even realizing it, but also very, very special because of the relationships that I've built through the years with people. And
that's
most of the time,
amazing.
my clients end up my friends. So that's really fun too.
Oh, so you get the referrals, like you get the client to work with for years and they trust you and they keep working with you through
Yeah.
multiple transactions. So that's amazing. Is that why you choose to be a realtor throughout the years and not switching your
Yes, I think
career?
so. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting. People say, "Oh, what do you do for a living?" You buy and sell homes. Well,
Mhm.
not really. I mean, the homes, I believe, actually, to a certain extent, sell themselves, right? I mean, our job as realtors is to position those homes and to bring the greatest buyer audience through if it's a listing, or if we're representing buyers to show them, expose them to the correct properties, to the correct communities. And
Mhm.
then, of course, I think the homes sell themselves. So really for me, I think that the passion lies in really the excitement of helping people transition at really important points in their lives. And it's a very intimate relationship. And I really enjoy the relationships that I do build and then the ultimate friendships that typically result. So it's just really special to be part of people's journey.
That's great. And just I'm glad to know because we have clients in California as well. They're engineers in Silicon Valley, like they're moving in and out California, so it will be great. So we could refer our clients to you, but
That
also
would be fun.
we have
Sure.
a lot of people that we know in our network that
Mhm.
if they watch this video, then they know you are the person to go to, because that's what you're doing is a very specific niche. You're not just doing everything and anything as a realtor.
It's true, but I will also say that, of course, since I had 7 years of an established business prior to starting the corporate relocation piece, I actually still to this day help everyone from the very first time condo buyer all the way to multi-million-dollar estates. And I
Mm.
actually love that because it keeps me in touch with every point in the market. So I have a pulse on what the overall marketplace is doing and not just a niche within that marketplace.
That's good to know. Okay, so you're the to-go realtor in California that
In Silicon Valley, yes, that's true.
people can go to. So switch gear a little bit. We met, I think, a
Yes.
couple years ago, and
Mhm.
then would you mind telling everybody, because I know how we met, but
Yeah,
tell
yes.
everybody how we met and then how we kind of got in touch and started working together.
Okay. Well, what grabbed me initially was your email campaign, which I'm still on. I mean, I still get these emails all the time. And then I like one just came out about a healthcare plan. And I was looking at that thinking, gosh, I got to ask Mia about that. But anyhow, I still get them. But those emails were impactful because I had an accountant that I think, in fairness, filed my taxes, but there wasn't a lot of guidance as far as what I could do to minimize taxes or to protect myself. And then, anyhow, ultimately, after seeing those emails, probably for a good better part of a year, I would say it was over a year, I
Mm.
thought I would call. And what ended up happening that was really amazing is that as part of our interview process, you had me send over my most recent filed tax returns, and then errors were discovered. And so my gut feeling that maybe I didn't have the best representation was then confirmed by you. And then we went back and we were able to do an amendment. And then, of course, the rest is history. But what really grabbed me was that the consistency of your email campaign and the fact that it really spoke to what I felt was missing, which is the the partnership. Somebody who is actually helping me figure out the best angle for me to take. And of course, in the time we've worked together, we determined I should really be an S corp. So we've done that. Now we're transitioning off of Quicken, which I've always used, into QuickBooks. And so anyhow, but I think really what I was looking for was making sure that I was really protected. And I think with you and Marlene, I feel that way.
That's awesome that we could offer that sort of feeling of protection for you too. But like I do remember last time, a long time ago, when we reviewed your return the first time, you did get some money back too. So that was a plus.
Yeah, I did. Yes. Yeah.
So in the way that we work together, we always want to feel, yes, we want you to feel like you have the peace of mind, but
Mhm.
also feel like you have complete transparency and clarity into what we're doing, and we stand behind our word. So nothing is like hidden or anything like that. But also when it comes to the return on investment with a current normal accounting, you're just paying for the fees to file. With
Mhm.
us, we're helping you reduce your taxes as
Yes.
well.
Yes, exactly.
So when you talk about being a realtor, right? And then also transitioning to your business has always been successful, but
Mhm.
transitioning from just focusing on your business into now understanding more about the finances and the tax side and different things that come your way.
Yeah.
Um, how did you feel about the whole process of like, was that educational? Was that frustrating? Or was it like just, enlightening to know new things or all of it?
I think it's a lot of adjectives. I mean, yes, enlightening for sure. Educational, yes. I would say scary at times, overwhelming, frustrating. Um, I can remember many conversations in that first year, especially with you and with Marlene, where I'd say, okay, I cannot keep all of this straight. We've got to back up and decide what's most important and then break this down and almost attack it in triage mode because
Mhm.
it was a lot to take in at first. But
Mhm.
then now I feel, and we're about to throw everything up in the air again when I learn QuickBooks, but I feel like at this point I have a process. I have, I know each month how payroll works, and I'm able to do payroll, and that's not an issue. And I have a routine, I have a plan.
That's
And
good.
there's a lot of reassurance in that. And so
That's
now I don't feel overwhelmed because I know what we're doing.
Yes. Well, thank you for the reassurance from telling me that you don't feel overwhelmed anymore, because that means a lot to us. We want you to feel the peace that what we're bringing in really help you. Just like, because we don't want to give more work to you if it doesn't make any sense. So I'm glad you see the benefits in the upfront work to set up the structures to make it better over time.
Yeah.
But I have to say that you were putting in a lot of work as well in the beginning, because we were revamping so many years of you not really having a complete understand of what was going on.
Correct.
Just like that whole year would just like boom, everything together for you to know. And of course, there's a tax return in the savings, but for you, it's like the whole year's worth of just studying and
Yes,
and knowing where everything goes.
Yep.
So thank you for being coachable and asking questions and telling us when you feel overwhelmed. So now you have this whole structure set up, and then
Yes.
talking about QuickBooks, help me understand why you would like to understand and do the QuickBooks yourself instead of just letting it go or not wanting to know what it is about, like in the past.
Well, I think, of course, my ultimate concern is, God forbid, if the day ever comes when I get audited, I want to make sure that my records are the best that they can be. And I think when my business was smaller, when I wasn't an S Corp, when I was just a sole proprietor, the record keeping wasn't as important. But I have a family management company now. I have a sole proprietorship. I have my own personal taxes. I have the corporate taxes, et cetera. And so I just think I recognize that as comfortable as Quicken has been, and largely it worked very well for me. But when you ask me for a balance sheet, I don't have that. Things like that. So I think but why do I want to do it myself? I think because I would like to learn. I'd like to understand really where my money is going and why. And it doesn't mean that at some point I won't turn it over to you ultimately, but at this point, I just feel like being my own bookkeeper is just, it's again, more information, more education, more understanding. And if I just go and turn it over to you now, I won't have those fundamentals.
That is such a great point that you have, because it's after the tax is done, then I do recommend the bookkeeping, learning how to do it yourself. And that's why we have this bookkeeping course, because yes, audit is going to be more this year, just because it's just the way it is, right? In 2024 after COVID. So, but also with the fact that you were talking about balance sheet and the income statement, I'm so proud that you're saying this, because in the past you didn't know, but now you know that it's important. So with the balance sheet, the income statement, if you need a loan for a house in the future, investment properties, if you need to buy a new business, or if you want to sell your own business, multiple things can happen. But with good financials in order, then you're confident that the bankers will not give you a hard time. Or if it happens, then you'll be fine. And it needs to come from an understanding from yourself that, like, I need to do this. Because no matter who you hired, you still need to have a good understanding of your book. So I think this is a good step to learn. You can double check other people's work too if you want to outsource it, but I think you're making the right decision.
Well, I guess ultimately, if I don't do it myself, there has to be a check and balance somewhere. And so if I were to outsource it and I didn't understand how it works, I actually would have no ability to cross-reference either, or to fact check it in any way. And so, and not to say that I'll ever have the level of knowledge, of course, that you guys have. And of course, I would expect that you will fact check it and it will be fine. But still, the ability to really to understand, I think is very important.
That's awesome. Well, thank you. Well, thank you for being coachable throughout the whole time and for taking our advice and now learning how to do bookkeeping yourself. And then you are not alone as a business owner. I would say probably 100% of business owners don't like admin work. And
Well, and
bookkeeping
no one
part of
teaches you
it.
how to be in business, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you go and you learn a skill, and then you can offer that skill, but everything that
Mhm.
happens behind the scenes is, unless you've actually taken accounting in
Right.
college or something, some kind of bookkeeping classes, I don't think most of us have any idea what it really takes
Mhm.
financially to do things properly. And I think a lot of people think they're doing things right. And
Mhm.
see, what I don't want is to get caught later and realize in the middle of, God forbid, an audit, and figure out at that point that I've been
Yep.
doing it wrong. So I think
Agreed.
being proactive, maybe that's
Mhm.
the best adjective we have.
That's great. Well, great advice in general and great thoughts. Now, before we wrap up today's interview, I want to ask you, so what's your advice for business owners who are starting out? Because I know you are established in your business and you have many years of experiences. Um, your advice to business owners who start out, what should they do? Or people who want to start a real estate career and want to have an established business like you.
Well, okay, so the bar to entry for real estate is not high. So you depends on the state that you're practicing in, but usually you have to have some kind of education or a certain amount of hours under your belt, and sometimes that comes in the form of college credits that you may already have established, and other times it's class work related specifically to real estate, combination of both. But eventually, of course, you take the licensing test, you get your license. The reality is, after that, no one tells you how to do anything. So I think choosing a brokerage that has a very strong training program is very important. And often the larger brokerages, the national and international corporation brokerages, tend to have really good training programs. Of course, there are exceptions to that rule, and there are small boutique brokerages who are great. And so you really should interview the market leaders in your marketplace. I think is how you choose your brokerage. You go and see who has the largest market share and why, and then go and interview that broker and ask them why you should come and work with them, what they are bringing to the table. Because the reality is that realtors are all independent contractors, and so we can choose to hang our license, quote unquote, in any brokerage we'd like. And brokerages are always looking to recruit top quality people. So they are probably just as interested, if not more interested, in you as a new realtor than you may be even in them. So that's why I think you turn those interview questions around and you ask them what they're bringing to the table. And then I guess other than that, I built my business doing open houses, and I met a lot of buyers that way. And my first 5 years in the business really were built and characterized by doing open houses both days, every weekend. I missed weddings, I missed funerals, I missed parties, I missed everything. But I invested those years and they paid off for me handsomely. So I don't think it takes a lot of money to start in this business. What it takes is effort and time. And I think the old way of doing business is not really applicable anymore. I don't think people want mailers in the mail. They certainly are not real excited when you knock on their door. You really need to meet and be valuable to buyers and meet them in their realm. So open house worked very, very well for me. A lot of realtors do work by referral as well. So I think combination of, there are a lot of great classes. Ninja is one, Ninja Selling, that I highly recommend.
That's awesome. Thank you. Because we work with some realtors who are starting out as well, so they could benefit from your advice.
Yeah.
Now, and actually I want to ask another question too, is now that you, as a business owner, and I'm a business owner too, so a lot of times I would push a lot of things aside to increase revenue in the business. But that means that I might neglect certain aspect of my business, like the admin side, or so it's not just you, but I feel like a lot of business owners are guilty of that. But during that time period when we work together, we have this shift in mindset that you would need to really take good care of the taxes and the accounting too. And somehow you figure out a schedule for yourself to make it a mission for you to get your taxes and the accounting in order, to save more. So help me understand, how how did you do that? Like, how did you reorganize your life and your schedule to fit in the accounting and the taxes, the thing you didn't like to do in the past?
Well, I would like to say that I have some kind of magic formula for this, but I don't. The reality is I tend to catch myself often kind of doing things last minute. I pay all of my bills every single month, but I don't always log in all of my expenses every single month. So what tends to happen is I find myself at the end of the year, in the middle of the Christmas season, when everything is crazy busy as it is, then pulling maybe not all-nighters, but half-nighters, trying to get my taxes done. I'm not proud of it. So my goal is to try to set aside some time. Maybe, I mean, ideally it would be once a week. Because realistically, if I just set aside an hour a week, that's probably all it would take. And I don't even think it would take that. But it's just being disciplined, because I think when we are in business, and this is even true, when we talk about running a business, period. I think the reason many realtors fail is because they're transaction-based thinkers, meaning they're worried about what's happening today, but they're not necessarily thinking about what's happening 6 months down the road, right? And so what ends up happening is you work in your business, but you don't work on your business. And then all of a sudden, all those transactions you've just been working on are done. And then you wake up one morning and a lot of realtors say, what am I supposed to do? Right? Because they didn't work on their business, which means they didn't keep that pipeline full. So now all of a sudden they wake up one day and they don't have anything. And best case, if you wake up one day and you really truly have nothing, it's going to take at least 90 days to generate more opportunities and then try to sell something. So your best case is 90 days, 120 days before you're seeing another paycheck. So I think just like you can't let your accounting go, there's working in your business and working on your business. And my goal for myself for this year is I'm trying to do a much better job of working in or on my business in the morning and in my business in the afternoon. So if I can do that, then the accounting is part of that working on my business. But I find if you can get your working on your business done in the morning, then of course in the afternoon, you can focus on other things. But if you don't work on it, if you just let your day take over and begin in the morning, those things that are on your to-do list seems to never get done.
It's amazing. That's great advice. So
I need to follow it.
Make accounting an essential part to
Yes.
get you to be more intentional about your business. Love it. There's a quote, I don't remember, someone told me, it's like, if you really want something, you would move mountains for it. And then if like, okay, if I don't want to do this, but if someone pointed a gun in my head and say, well, are you going to do it? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do it. So think about, it's like, if you really don't want to do something, but okay, this is the only choice, then why not? It's the only choice you need to do. And I feel like making yourself more disciplined about your finances and setting up the routine for it, you're going to get there for sure.
Yeah. I'll get
And just one last question
Sure.
for you. So if people want to get in touch with you, and if they either want to get your advice or buy a house from you, or if they want to relocate to Silicon Valley and want to get a house, get a place to live, how do they get in touch with you?
Well, the easiest way is probably email, only because it's the easiest address I have. And that's just simply my name, Fran, F-R-A-N, at sereno.com. And that's spelled S as in Sam, ERENO.com. My full name is Fran Papapietro, and I do have a website, and the URL is my full name, but that's long. So, but anyhow, you can find me, but Fran, the last name is spelled Papapietro. So very phonetical, just like it sounds, but it's long. It trips people up. So anyhow, and then of course, phone is always fine. I do text. Voicemail I find problematic lately. I'm not sure what's going on with voicemail, but text is always great too. And that's my phone number is 408-623-4155.
Awesome.